Are there stages to enlightenment, and if yes, what are they? In this video, I want to discuss a teaching concept that was developed by Korean Zen Master Seung Sahn. He simply called it the Zen Circle. And it's like a map of our mind where different aspects or perspectives are taken into account. Basically, it's a guideline for getting from the small I, from our relative sense of being, to the big I, which is nothing else than our Buddha nature. If you don't want to get stuck at a certain stage, make sure to watch this video, and afterwards make sure to completely forget about it. Why? You'll find out at the end. But before I continue, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Christian, I'm a friend of the way, and I've been practicing Zen meditation for some years now. And now I just want to inspire your spiritual journey. There are many spiritual traditions and at least as many different ideas about stages of enlightenment. These ideas or teaching concepts can be helpful in assessing oneself. Where am I at a particular moment? Am I caught in attachment to something relative? Or has my view expanded to include a more absolute view of reality? We cannot wake up if we don't even know that we are in a dream. That's why it can be quite helpful to assess your perspective right now. See where you are, and then also let it go in order to look at yourself and the world from a less condensed point of view. Please remember, any description of the stages of enlightenment is merely a teaching method meant to help you identify and let go of false views. It's a tool you can use, but in the end, you'll also have to let go of it. Throughout my spiritual career, I've come upon a handful of different frameworks that describe different stages we go through until we are fully enlightened. And I want to present one of these different approaches. In this video, I want to present the Zen Circle from Korean Zen Master Seung Sahn, and I'll make more videos on other frameworks in the future. And for everyone who does not know who this is, Zen Master Seung Sahn is a famous Korean Zen master who lived during the 20th century, and he actually became the youngest Zen master in Korean history. He received Dharma transmission at age 22 and basically brought Korean Zen to the West. He was known for his sharp, unconventional teaching style and his emphasis on don't know mind. In my opinion, his teaching style resembled that of the old ancient Chinese Chan masters much more than what we usually think of when we think about Zen. Most people are not really aware of Korean Zen, since Japanese Zen has become much more well known, and only in my opinion, while Japanese Zen is more focused on form, like correct sitting or how to properly walk, Korean Zen is closer to the Chinese style, as it focuses more on actually waking people up. However, no offense against Japanese Zen Buddhism. I value it very highly. I think there are also many great Zen masters and Zen teachers who are doing a really great job and who have inspired me greatly. This is just my opinion anyway. So whatever you're doing, whatever you're practicing, whatever tradition you are following, fully go for it. There are so many authentic ways, authentic traditions that will lead you to enlightenment. All right, so let's start with Seung Sahn's Zen Circle. As you can see in this image, we start at the bottom at 0 degrees. This is our small I, where we are attached to name and form. We like this, we don't like that. We are attached to the appearance of things and we differentiate very strongly depending on the appearance. In extreme cases, we even start wars because we like one appearance more than the other. I would say most people are probably at this stage. The good news though is that you can't get any lower than that. At 90 degrees, you can see the karma eye, sometimes also called the thinking eye. Here we are more attached to thinking and concepts than to name and form. It's just a very subtle difference, I would say, since thinking is also based on name and form. I mean, each thought is basically only some form, some pattern, but conceptually we see that everything has the same nature. However, it remains on the level of thinking. We may get the idea that emptiness is form and form is emptiness, as the Hat Sutra says, or that suffering and happiness are two sides of the same coin, but it still just stays at the thinking level. I'm not completely sure why he coined it karma eye, but I guess it's because cause and effect become clear to us, how opposite forces which share the same substance work together to create something. I'm not Zen Master Seung Sahn, so this is only my interpretation, but I think if you understand Buddhist or spiritual concepts without having had a real awakening experience, you're probably at this stage. But no worries, if you stay until the end of this video, you'll understand why this doesn't matter at all. Next, at 180 degrees, nothing I. Before I continue with this one, let me say that the right side of the circle is more related to the relative world and the left side is related to the absolute world. So here at 180 degrees, it's about what Buddhists usually call emptiness, nothingness. It's the opposite of 0 degrees, where it's about name and form. And conceptually, we can say that emptiness or nothingness is the opposite of name and form. At the first stage, at 0 degrees, we run around thinking that everything we see is real, that the universe is real, and that there are actually many different forms because we label everything that we see. At this stage, however, at 180 degrees, we see that there are actually no forms at all. There isn't even emptiness, because the moment we call something emptiness, it's not emptiness anymore. We have turned it into a form. So Seung Sahn also called this the before thinking mind. And we can only describe this stage through negation. There are no forms, there is no I, there is no nothing. Everything already disappeared. The mind before thinking. There is no way one can think about it. If you have had an awakening, an enlightenment experience, you know what this is about. Realizing this point is very important. Okay, so next, 270 degrees. Freedom I. According to Zen Master Seung Sahn, this is the point where all the magic and miracles happen. Here we have complete freedom. This is where the cities, the magical powers, really start to manifest. Imagine you start from the small I, you're attached to name and form, And since you think they are absolute, you have very little freedom. You have to work in a job in order to pay taxes and survive. You live in a certain house or apartment, which is just another form, and you let forms dictate your whole life. Then, boom, suddenly you wake up. You see nothing is real. Everything is made up. There are no forms, no reality that could limit you. Now you turn water into wine to have a good time. However, there's only one problem. At that stage, you're attached to freedom. So you even have to go beyond that. Every true spiritual teacher actually warns against getting attached to this sense of freedom for obvious reasons. I don't know if this is true or not, but a few years ago, I heard the story, or I read it somewhere, I don't know, about Zen Master Seung Sahn. During his first 100-day solo retreat, where he attained enlightenment, he was sitting in meditation, practicing really hard, when suddenly something hit the top of his head. He looked up in order to see what it was, but according to the story, he realized that he was floating in air and he had bumped his head against the ceiling. So as soon as he recognized this, and because he was a true Zen practitioner, he simply thought to himself, not correct, and he went back down to the floor. As I said before, I have no idea if this story is true or not, and unfortunately I don't even remember where I first heard it from or read it from, but this is a good teaching anyway. If you really want to attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, complete unexcelled enlightenment, then you should not waste your time hoping for magical powers, practicing manifestations, or chasing that kind of stuff. It's just more desire, more wanting, and eventually more suffering. Okay, let's leave the magic behind and let's get real. 360 degrees, big eye. At 360 degrees, everything is just as it is. Our mind is like a mirror, reflecting the world exactly as it is. If red appears in front of this mirror, it becomes red. If white appears in front of this mirror, the mirror becomes white. Some also call this place moment world. Moment by moment, truth is perceived as it is. As you can see, 360 degrees is the exact same point as 0 degrees, but with the big difference that we are no longer attached to name and form. We are not attached to the small I. When we actually reach this place, the whole circle disappears. The circle is just a concept, just an idea, and at this stage we have let go of any kind of idea. We just perceive the truth of this moment right now. There is no attachment, form is form, emptiness is emptiness. There is this famous Zen saying that you probably know. First, waters are waters and mountains are mountains. Then, waters are not waters and mountains are not mountains. Then, waters again are waters and mountains again are mountains. This saying first points to 0 degrees, where everything is just as it is, but we are attached to form and we can't see clearly. Then we wake up, we reach 180 degrees, where there are no things anymore. And then, if we don't even attach to enlightenment or emptiness, we arrive back where we started. And when I say back where we started, I don't mean a deluded state of being where we basically sleepwalk, but back to where we started before the universe appeared. Before the universe appeared, and this moment right now, no difference. The wall is white, the sky is blue, truth is just like this. Remember that when you think that you are at 0 degrees, this exact place is already where 360 degrees is. You are already there. In the end, this circle is just a teaching concept. When it disappears, only this moment remains. It's important to not attach to anything, neither to the thought of how unenlightened you are, nor to the thought of how enlightened you are. This moment just as it is. Don't forget to not attach to what I have just said. Best to forget it altogether once you basically close this page. I hope this was helpful. I'll follow up with more of these videos in the future, so please let me know your perspective in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. I wish you all the best. Your friend of the way. Bye.